Let's talk about the world's most dangerous technology. It's a science so powerful, it created this really exclusive, really scary club, the Nuclear Club. And this is the story of how you get a membership card.
So how did this happen? I mean, think about it. A technology this secret, this powerful, how does it wind up in the hands of 10 different countries? It's just an incredible story of science, spies, raw ambition, and a whole lot of fear. Some nations shared, and, well, others just stole what they needed. Okay, so here's how we're going to break it down. We'll start with that first spark of discovery, then watch it just explode into a superpower arms race. From there, we'll see how the club's membership grew, sometimes through these wild secret missions and espionage, all leading us to today, and the chilling logic that keeps this whole fragile system from collapsing.
Our story kicks off in 1938, and not on some battlefield, but in a quiet German laboratory. A couple of scientists there were about to make a discovery that would, and I'm not exaggerating here, change the course of human history forever. So, scientists in Germany figure out nuclear fission, basically how to split an atom and release a mind-boggling amount of energy. A year later, Albert Einstein sends his now famous letter to the US government, pretty much screaming that the Nazis could turn this science into a weapon. That warning, that single letter, kicked off the Manhattan Project, a top-secret race between the US, the UK, and Canada to build a bomb before their enemies could.
Just let this number sink in for a moment. The Manhattan Project cost nearly 1% of the entire U.S. GDP at the time. To put that in perspective for you, that's like spending over $250 billion today on a single secret project. It was a monumental gamble, and it was all driven by this terrifying fear that Nazi Germany would get there first.
And then, it happened. In the pre-dawn darkness of the New Mexico desert, July 1945, they did it. The Trinity test unleashed this blinding white light, a power nobody had ever seen on Earth. And in that moment of absolute awe and terror, everyone watching knew the world had just been fundamentally and terrifyingly changed forever.
But the end of World War II didn't end the story of the bomb. Oh no, it was just getting started. The bomb wasn't just a weapon anymore, it was now the central piece on a brand new global chessboard. And America's monopoly on it? Yeah, that was about to end. Fast.
So right after the Trinity test, President Truman pulls Soviet Premier Joseph Stalin aside at the Potsdam Conference. He whispers to him that the U.S. now has a weapon of unusual destructive force. He's expecting some kind of shock, right? But Stalin just nods, totally calm, and gives this chillingly casual reply.
What Truman had no idea about was that Stalin wasn't surprised at all. He already knew everything. Soviet spies had burrowed deep inside the Manhattan Project. On the inside, Stalin was absolutely furious that the Americans had beaten him to it, and he immediately ordered his own program to go full throttle.
You see, the Soviets had a huge head start, the stolen American blueprints. But they were super paranoid, thinking the plans might be a trap. Their solution was kind of genius in a brutal way. Capture German nuclear scientists and force them to double-check the American data. And it worked. Just 4 years later, in 1949, they detonated RDS-1. The American monopoly was officially shattered, and the Cold War arms race was on.
So now with the two big superpowers armed to the teeth, other countries started looking around and thinking, uh-oh, we can't afford to get left behind here. The nuclear club was about to get a few new members, and the weapons themselves were about to get much, much scarier.
The United Kingdom was next up. I mean, they were allies, but after the war, the US cut them off from all the nuclear secrets. So Britain, determined to stay a world power, just went and built their own, testing it in 1952. Then came France in 1960, driven by this fierce national pride and wanting to do their own thing. And then, shocking pretty much everyone, came China in 1964. And they didn't just build a bomb. They developed their arsenal faster than anybody.
But the game itself was changing. Scientists weren't just splitting atoms anymore. No, now they were fusing them together. This created the thermonuclear weapon, the hydrogen bomb, a device that literally mimics the energy source of the sun.
This number says it all. The H-bomb wasn't just a small upgrade. It was 1,000 times more powerful than the weapon that destroyed Hiroshima. We're not talking about destroying a city anymore. We are talking about wiping entire regions clean off the map. This was a terrifying quantum leap in our ability to destroy ourselves. But, you know, not every country joined the club through some massive official government program. For the next wave of nuclear powers, the path to the bomb was paved with secrecy, deception,
and some really high-stakes espionage.
Israel is probably the most mysterious member of the club. Officially, to this day, it is never admitted to having nuclear weapons. Back in the 50s, it built this secret facility out at Dimona, and they even built fake walls and hidden elevators to fool American inspectors. The only reason we know is because in 1986, a technician named Mordecai Vanunu smuggled the photos out, a decision that cost him 18 years in prison.
And here's another incredible clandestine story. After losing a war to its rival, India, Pakistan was desperate for a bomb of its own. Their answer came in the form of A.Q. Khan, a scientist working at a nuclear facility in the Netherlands. He used his access to memorize and copy top-secret blueprints for centrifuges. These are the machines that enrich uranium. And he smuggled those designs back home. It gave Pakistan a massive, massive head start.
So after India conducted its own test in 1974, they called it a peaceful nuclear explosion, Pakistan eventually responded with its own tests in 1998. But here's the critical difference. India has a no first-use policy. They'll only strike back. Pakistan, on the other hand, does not. They reserve the right to use nukes first if they think they're losing a conventional war, which is a much, much more dangerous stance.
And that brings us to the modern era. The club has gotten bigger, the technology is spread all over, and this whole thing is held in a really fragile balance by a terrifyingly simple and dangerously logical idea. The most recent nation to crash the party is North Korea. And their motivation is basically the same one we've seen again and again, just boiled down to its purest form: regime survival. The Kim dynasty believes that nuclear weapons are the one and only thing stopping an American attack, so they defied the entire world to build them.
So how does this insane standoff actually work? Well, it all comes down to one core concept: mutually assured destruction, or MAD. The logic is brutal, but it's simple. If you launch a nuclear strike on me, I will always have enough weapons left to launch a devastating counterstrike that will destroy you in return. Nobody wins. It is, quite literally, the ultimate don't even think about it.
And the ultimate insurance policy for MAD lies right here, in the silent, dark depths of the ocean. Nuclear-armed submarines can hide for months at a time, completely untrackable. They're the guarantee that even if a country's entire landmass is completely wiped off the map, a submarine crew somewhere out there can still unleash hell, guaranteeing mutual destruction.
And so here we are. This terrifying logic, this balance of fear, has somehow prevented a major global war for nearly 80 years. But here's the really unsettling part. The blueprints are out there. The science is, by today's standards, old. The only thing stopping the next country from building a bomb is politics, which leaves us with the final, unnerving question. How long can this fragile, nuclear peace possibly last?